And we're on in this segment with Alfred University President Dr. Mark Zupan. Dr. Zupan, thank you for joining us.
Brian, pleasure to be with you this morning.
Well, you had an online graduation there on May 16th. How did that go?
It went great. We had 650 participants, including family members, faculty, board members, and we called it a virtual celebration because the actual commencement will be December 19th. We postponed it due to COVID-19, but it was still a great way to celebrate.
Did you have the official commencement speakers on that one, the May 16th online graduation there?
We did, including an alumnus, Peter Cunyo, who's the main speaker. He's one of the leading turnaround experts in the country. He's been past chair of the Board of Trustees, still on our board. And among his claims to fame was turning around Marvel Comics when it was bankrupt and creating Marvel Entertainment and selling it to Disney for over $4 billion.
You've got new majors this year at AU. You've got biology, new programs in biology and biochemistry, data analytics, and business analytics. Let's start out with biology.
We've always had a BA in biology, but this is a BS in biology, so it'll facilitate greater opportunities in the growing healthcare field. Biochem is new. It's a combination of what we've had historically in biology and chemistry, and data analytics and business analytics, a very powerful skill set to have, and very much an orientation that's, while it's based in the College of Business, in business analytics, but for data analytics, it spans all our academic units.
Wow, so many exciting plans for the fall. Now, Governor Andrew Cuomo, as we all know, says he's going to announce at some point what the plans are for in-person education as far as the fall education. I think the way he said it was, and I was thinking he was talking about high schools, but I guess the same would apply to colleges and universities. He said school systems should plan as if there's going to be a fall semester for in-person, in-class students, and then he'll make the announcement at some point this summer. Wondering, are you hearing anything since that statement from Governor Cuomo? Mark Zupan.
Brian, I was on a call last week with the Lieutenant Governor, who's the chair of the Western New York region. We went into Phase 1 as a region last week. Universities are in Phase 4, but she anticipates part of Phase 2 will be able to start ramping up some of the administrative stuff. And she conveyed something very similar to Governor Cuomo. Plan as if you're going to be in session in the fall, but in the meanwhile, heavy duty on also planning safety protocols, testing, tracing, and treating, and making sure our community members will be safe.
Talking to Dr. Mark Zupan from Alfred University, the president of Alfred University, I should say. Zoom conferences, that's something that so many school systems and so many businesses have gotten into a lot more than they were before. And tell us about Zoom conferences that you've been having there, Dr. Mark Zupan.
Brian, I'd never used the technology before. We had to pivot pretty quickly. Proud of how our faculty and staff were willing to pivot online and the extent to which they helped our students. And we found certain benefits. For example, tomorrow on Thursday, we have 230 football recruits meeting with our football coaching staff and some existing players. So it's a great way to reach more people. We've had these similar Zoom calls by other sports. By college, we had a virtual accepted student day with close to 200 participants. One of the things the students sorely missed was the prom in their last few months of high school. So we committed, when we're back in session and safe, we're going to do a prom at Alfred University for them. And also reaching alumni. So finding ways to keep in touch. There's still no better way than in person. But this increases our reach, and also reaching prospective students. It's easier, for example, to visit multiple high schools and to get the word out about Alfred University with this technology. I've also learned WhatsApp with a top prospective student, for example, in Rome, Italy, who's a swimming prospect. business school student, and we couldn't connect by Zoom, we couldn't connect by FaceTime or regular phone, but it's a ridiculously easy technology with WhatsApp, and it was a way to, pretty much like FaceTime, establish a very personal bond. And then I've first new technology that I've beaten my two sons to is TikTok. Chaz Bruce, a former football player of ours, a leading social media influencer, taught me how to use it, and using it to get the word out about Alfred University to prospective students. So I'm at Mark Zupan Viet Lux, and you can see profiles of prominent current students, alumni. I've asked them each no more than 60 seconds, why Alfred, and some pretty powerful testimonials as to Alfred University and the difference it's made in their lives.
Dr. Mark Zupan, the president of AU, on the line with us in this segment of Newsmaker. Dr. Zupan, almost more of a high school superintendent's question, this next question, but I'm sure you will know about it. I'm wondering, are they taking SATs this year with all the chaos from the pandemic and the COVID? I know Alfred University and all colleges have to have the SAT scores in by a certain point. What's going on there this year with the COVID situation affecting it?
We, like other schools, have gone test optional for the fall of 2021, as well as for those that were still taking tests late in the game for this fall. We plan to revert on requiring the test the year after, but it was very hard, if not impossible, to access the test. So we're being accommodating, and we're working with our prospective students and looking at the rest of their profile instead.
Okay. Dr. Mark Zupan, your life, like everybody else's, must have changed so much at Alfred University, and the students and the faculties. Anything you can share with us about how that's been life at AU with COVID-19, with all these classes online and all these Zoom conferences?
Yeah, I've interacted now with several hundred of our students, whether it's been by FaceTime or email or Zoom, and I've yet to have a student say, I prefer the new normal to the old normal, and from here on in, I'm going to do all my education online. The other thing they've said is how much they appreciate the extent to which our faculty and staff have worked with them on the pivot to online. But we're social animals. I just finished reading this book, Running with Sherman, by this author, Chris McDougall, who wrote Born to Run. He's an ultra-marathoner, and he and his family relocated to Lancaster County, Amish country in Pennsylvania. And the startling thing I didn't realize is to what extent the Amish report very high levels of happiness, well-being, even though they've eschewed modern technology to a great extent. But that's allowed them to stay connected better with family and friends, and also better connected with animals. And the author, what he relays is how much maybe the mental health and wellness issues we're now experiencing is because we've pivoted more toward technology and away from the human contact that's so important to keep us grounded. And it's something that I think is a key part of the educational process, that while we've pivoted and done telework, we still sorely miss the old norm now more than ever.
Yeah, I bet. It's got to be so tough these days. You think of the negative stereotype of the grumpy older guy saying, "Boy, you kids have it easy today." I don't think there'd be a whole lot of people who would say that today about being a youth in the COVID-19 period. And we're talking to Dr. Mark Zupan, the Alfred University president. Princeton Review speaks highly of Alfred University, and Alfred University was rated last year one of the best schools in the country. I was reading some of the online reviews from the students from Alfred University on the Princeton Review, and I won't read the quotes, but one of the things that they say is that it's very nice, very friendly. And one of the things that more than one student noted was that even though there's a big difference in the personality types between the engineering majors and the math majors and the chemistry majors, you really notice that all these groups will come and hang together at different points or very frequently throughout the year.
And it's one of the beauties of the campus, the wide range of top programs. And you're exactly right, Brian. An engineer thinks very differently from an art and design student, or a business student approaches problems differently from the liberal arts and sciences. And so in this pretty small valley, the opportunity to see how other people think and just the interesting combinations. For example, we had a place kicker who also made masks for our theater department. The range of double majors, people combining, for example, a music minor with an engineering degree. And then you put in the extracurricular programs that allow people to grow as individuals. And usually I'm traveling half the time meeting with alumni. And the single most common comment, and it's remarkably consistent, is somebody took an interest in me and changed my life. Having a few mentors, whether it's faculty, staff, sometimes it's a fellow student, but providing that grounding, helping people find what they're passionate about, and then nurturing the confidence to pursue that passion. And we call it the Alfred magic, but the small valley's been very good for almost 2 centuries in creating that magic.
One of the local notables who's a trustee at Alfred University is Bill Pullman. Bill recently had a Zoom conference with some AU students. We're going to talk about that when we get back here on Newsmaker. Stay with us.
The Maple City Dodge Sales Department is open. Your favorite guys, Gary, Larry, Aaron, Doug, and John, are back and available by appointment. Simply call Maple City Dodge and tell them you're ready for a great deal. The incentives are huge, and the sales team is highly motivated. The service, collision, and detail departments are also open. They'll pick up, service, and return your vehicle when the work is done. Call Maple City Dodge in Hornell. They're ready to get you back on the road with the real deal every time.
The Ryan Agencies, your local, independent insurance agencies. Online insurance companies don't know the unique needs of our rural community. The Ryan Agency meets rural needs every day. Local insurance experts offering realistic solutions. Contact the Ryan Agencies today. Good local people offering realistic insurance solutions.
Insurance protection you can rely on. The Ryan Agency.
Back with Alfred University President Dr. Mark Zupan here in this segment of the Newsmaker show. Bill Pullman did a Zoom conference with some Alfred University students that were talking about a recent movie that Bill made. Can you tell us about that, Dr. Zupan?
Well, Bill's not a graduate, but he's a member of our board and just incredibly generous with his time and energy, and agreed with one of our faculty to Zoom in and brought in another member of the acting performing community to help our students analyze this particular movie. And when we were last meeting as a board in New York City at the end of January, and who knew at the time our world would change the way it did so rapidly, but Bill generously hosted in Midtown Manhattan an analysis of his latest series, The Sinner, in which he plays a starring role and draws on some of his experiences growing up in this area and parents that worked in Hornell. So very sweet guy, incredibly thoughtful, and has been incredibly generous with our university.
Yeah, agreed. All around great guy, Bill Pullman, one of the trustees at AU. Talking to Dr. Mark Zupan, the president of Alfred University. You know, in the last segment, I said I'm not going to read I won't read all the reviews of AU, and then I got thinking during the commercial, why not do that? It says, this is something I've seen numerous places about AU. The professors are always pushing you to reach your full potential, always willing to put time into student-independent projects. This is an interesting point, this next point. Students rave about the size of the classes. It's the closest to what you can get to one-on-one teaching, said a clinical and counseling psychology major. The classroom size is perfect for a more personalized education. I'm guessing you've heard a lot of compliments about that in regards to AU, Dr. Zupan.
It's the single most common comment I hear from alumni or from current students. And I think it'll help us, too, in navigating COVID-19. Our average class size is 13. Very few of our classes get to the 30 level. And so in an era where near term we'll have to practice social distancing, and even when you think about it, you look at rural campuses like ours relative to more urban campuses, it's harder to imagine being able to achieve social distancing when you've got 43,000 students in a major urban campus like the Boston area or New York City. So I think it'll play to our advantage, and we've been blessed so far to have had only one fatality in Allegheny County, 44, I believe, total cases as of yesterday, of which 41, I believe, have recovered. So I think the rural setting, the proximity to nature, I've taken to walking every day to just check on campus, and it's very therapeutic, I find. And again, when you're dealing, the more stress you feel, you're also, you have a more compromised immune system. So finding ways in nature to take advantage of it better will also, I believe, stand us in good stead this fall.
I'm wondering, are the students pretty good about wearing the masks that you see everybody have on these days, Dr. Zupan?
They're not on campus right now, but it's one of the protocols we're going to promote, and we're going to work with our student government because protocols are one thing, but making sure we're all practicing them for the overall good of the community, not just our own good. And we'll have to stay aware of best practices. So you even think about how the evidence has changed quickly. Earlier in the year, we were told don't wear masks unless you're a frontline worker, and now we found that it's incredibly beneficial for everyone to wear a mask. Or even earlier on, there were worries about not touching surfaces, and the latest evidence is COVID-19 doesn't spread too easily on surfaces. It's proximate contact with individuals in a smaller room where you're breathing or singing or otherwise expressing yourself. So those situations, you need to find ways to promote better social distancing.
And you talked about, you reminded us that no students are on the campus. Wondering, does that also include student staff members? Are there any students working all the different grounds, paint crew, all the different jobs that you see students do? Are they also all not at the campus at the moment?
Correct. Only a few essential workers, for example, to keep the heating cooling plant going, to mow the grounds, just bare necessities at this point until we can go to phase 4. And we're envisioning in phase 2 in the near future, having some additional staff come on campus to prepare for the fall.
Back to the reviews there, Dr. Zupan. I thought this was an interesting one from collegesimply.com. And this is from a student. Says he's from New York. Not sure if that means New York State or New York City. But anyways, it says, being a freshman, it was easy for me to come. He says, you'll be expected to study, and there's plenty of help available for students who need it. The small campus makes getting around easy. I don't feel like I'm lost in the crowd at AU, but rather part of a community. The town of Alfred is small, but has everything you need. If you bring a car to campus, that's helpful for trips to nearby larger towns. The surrounding area is great for outdoor enthusiasts like me. If you're into partying only, this probably is not the college for you.
And while partying's important, it's what we learn and the mentors we develop, the friendships. We're amazed. Out of 25,000 alums, we have at least 3,000 that are married AU. They found their significant partner. It's amazing in how many cases those marriages have lasted. And we think it's because in a small environment you have to communicate more. And the better you communicate and get to know somebody, it creates for a more lasting relationship. Last year at reunion, one of our staff members, Janet Marble, developed a way to re-celebrate your vows. And we were thinking we'd get 10 couples, and we got close to 50. So this is going to be an ongoing practice. They even dressed me out in a tunic with a collar, a purple tunic with a gold collar, and had me officiate as these AU couples came back. And we're also encouraging now's a good time to invest in education. And we anticipate more students from closer to home. We developed a closer to home scholarship. If you're from Steuben County, Allegheny County, some northern Pennsylvania counties, some other southern tier counties, so that if you want to stay closer to family near term until we punch through COVID-19, we're providing those additional opportunities. And one of the things we conveyed to our graduates, because we're amazed how many, now's not the best job market, and we'll be helping them through the summer with Zoom calls, find opportunities. But at the same time, now may be a really good time to think about pursuing an MBA with us, for example, a one-year program from a top 100 rated College of Business. We just got rated in the top 100 recently, or a top engineering graduate program. And our faculty are also thinking, could we develop certificate programs in business and data analytics? Those skill sets are really valuable. So invest in your education, postpone repaying the loans if you have those, and then you can enter the job market even better armed when it improves.
We've been talking to Dr. Mark Zupan. I wanted to ask you one final question. What's it like these days as far as how the ratio goes of local students going to Alfred University versus coming in from more far away towns in New York State or even out of state?
We've been growing downstate from the New York City area. We traditionally draw about 20% of our student body. A really important growth area has been international students. About 4 years ago, we were 0.5% international. Pre-COVID-19, we were anticipating being over 10% international. And while China and Saudi Arabia have been the biggest players in that space in terms of country of origin the last couple years, the growth opportunities for us next year are much more diverse. I've been on FaceTime, WhatsApp calls, again, the student from Rome, Italy. We have a top engineering student from Nigeria. His sister's now committed to joining us, and a cousin. The challenge with these international students will be the visa, transportation, so we're expecting more of them to actually join us come January, and we're creating some onboarding online opportunities in the fall for them. But we expect a very diverse set of students, so you can come experience the world in this small magic valley of ours. Two of the prospects I talked to, brothers, swimmers from Tegucigalpa, Honduras, both mechanical engineering majors. And the younger brother first was enamored with us and talked to his older brother who's already in college there, let's both do it. And so we're looking forward to both of them joining us and adding some further diversity to our campus.
Dr. Mark Zupan, it's always great having you on. Dr. Zupan, the president of Alfred University. Dr. Zupan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for the opportunity, Brian. Stay safe. And as we say here, our motto, Fiat Lux, which means let there be light. Especially in darker times, it's important for all of us to be bearers of light.